Hey, are you an entrepreneur? Or are you an aspiring entrepreneur looking to improve your chances of success? I always wondered this exact thing. There's got to be one or two things that do that. Well, if you're curious about what separates the most successful entrepreneurs from the rest of the bunch, you're in the right place. Because this video, I'm going to reveal to you the number one skill of every entrepreneur that is successful. Matter of fact, I'm not going to just give you one, I'm going to give you 5 different reasons why entrepreneurs become successful. The opposite, well, is why they fail. So here it is. The number one thing that makes a successful entrepreneur is this: creation. I know. You're like, really? That's the number one thing? Well, it is. Creation is the number one thing you must have and must do to be a successful entrepreneur. Let me give you an example. Like, there's a video all over YouTube. There's actually a book about it. The Strangest Secret in the World. It's written by Earl Nightingale. And in this, he does a study of 100 20-year-olds. Now, if you're 20, you should pay attention. And what they did is they went to all 100 of these eager, optimistic 20-year-olds and they asked them a single solitary question. Are you going to be successful at the age of retirement? So what do you think the answer of all of these 20-year-olds was? If you said, of course, and yes, you're right. Every one of these 100 eager, optimistic 20-year-olds said, of course I'm going to be successful. Yes, I'm going to be successful. Why would you even ask me this question? Yeah, is the answer. But if we were to then look at that study and take that all the way to the age of 65, a strange little thing happens. You see, they were not all successful. 5% of them, only 5 out of those 100 20-year-olds was successful. That's right. We took a group of 100, and at the end of it, only 5 of them were successful. So what's the difference? Well, it's what I just said. 5 of them went out and created their destiny, created a business that created something for somebody. Matter of fact, I like to say what they did is they created a solution to a really big problem. The other 95 of those 100 20-year-olds, they conformed. They conform to somebody else's failed vision, somebody else's failed reality, somebody else's failed dream, because they just followed the herd. Somebody somewhere after their 21st birthday said to them, your ideas, this whole dream of yours is silly. You're never going to be successful. You ever see the movie, Kid, You'll Shoot Your Eye Out? It's kind of like that, right? If you stop creating because somebody else tells you your vision, your dream, your business is stupid, is dumb, isn't going to work, isn't going to succeed, you have switched in your mind away from creation and gone to, well, conformity. So the first thing you must do is you must create. What should you create? Simple. A solution to a really big problem. What problem? That's for you to figure out, because that's what you're going to do. You're going to create the solution. So don't ever forget that. The first and most important thing is creation. So we got 4 more skills left, and you're going to want to stick around for the last one, because the last one, I think, is the one that most of you will fail at. So let's go on to the second part. I teased this in number 1, but it's vision. You need to maintain a vision. You need to have a clear vision of what this solution looks like. And that vision is going to be tested. You're going to be tested by all sorts of people. Like I said, they're going to tell you that your vision sucks. They're going to tell you your vision will never work. But it's your vision, not theirs. It's your dream, not theirs. So don't lose the vision. The vision is the one thing that when you go to sleep at night that you're thinking about. When you wake up in the morning and you're taking a shower and you kind of just doze off into that vision. That's what I'm talking about. We've all had those visions. Write them down. Grab a pen and paper and just jot it down. Don't lose the vision. Number 3, I said this in the first part with creation. This is the number one thing all businesses must do. They all must solve a problem. What problem? Well, the bigger the problem, the bigger the paycheck, and the bigger the business opportunity. So what is the problem that you're going to solve? Well, that comes in a lot of ways. I'll use my example. I solve the problem of putting people back in control of their money. You see, we've been taught to give up control of our money, and what I do is I have created an entire business. I have created this to solve that single problem, to put you back in control of your money. The rest of it is really just details to that one solitary solution. What is your solution? What is the problem you're going to solve? Are you going to make a better food? You're going to make a better peanut butter and jelly sandwich? You're going to make a better tire? What is it that you will do, and what problem does it solve? Let's move on to the next one. Number 4. This is tough. This is your ability to fail. I know you're probably thinking, what in the heck does this have to do with an entrepreneur? Well, let me tell you, there's not a single entrepreneur out there that has not failed, because you will fail. Mark my words. If you're an aspiring entrepreneur or you just started as an entrepreneur, I got some news. You're going to fail. You're going to not just fail once, you're going to fail twice, maybe 3 times, maybe 4 times. You might fail 10 to a dozen times. Each failure is a learning that you need. Each failure is a test you must go through. Let me give you an example. I'm a ex-pro snowboarder, and I used to skateboard a lot too. Every skateboarder I know, before they master a trick, you know what they do? They fail. They crash. They constantly keep trying it, and they fail, and they fail, and they fail, and they fail, and then all of a sudden, boom, they land the trick. And then they do it again, and they fail, and then boom, they land the trick. Same with snowboarding. You get the vision in your head for that trick. And then you find the jump that's going to solve that problem because it's big enough to put you into whatever the trick is that you're going to do. And the first couple times you hit it, you slam. You fail. They hurt. You get up, you're like, oh my God, that killed. I don't know if I can keep going. But you go back up there and you hit it again and again and again. The vision never dies. The trick just keeps getting closer. And then all of a sudden, boom, you stomp it and you ride away. Now it's locked. But how many times did you have to fail before you nailed that trick? I don't care if it's skateboarding or snowboarding or football or soccer or basketball or any sport. It's all the same. You're going to miss the shot. You're going to miss the ball. You're going to fail, folks. In business, you will fail. And sometimes failure sucks. It means you go broke. But don't give up, because if the vision is big enough and the problem that you're solving is big enough and you are a creator, you can never fail. The only way to fail is to quit. Are you going to quit? I know you say you're not going to. Oh, no way, Chris. I'm not going to quit. Right. When you are deep into that failure, the only thing your mind's going to tell you is just quit. It's easier. It's what we're brought up to think. Just quit. Don't ever quit. And just remember, the only way to ever fail at anything, including entrepreneurship, is to quit. And number 5, this one is paramount. I think this one is one of the most important things and one of the hardest for most of you to do. So number 5 is your willingness to reinvest in yourself. So what do I mean by that? I mean you're going to have to continue to keep reinvesting money, effort, time, energy, all of it. You're going to have to keep pouring that back in before you ever get rich or wealthy. Because the riches, the wealth, they're way down the line. Some of you might get lucky and you might hit riches quick, but you know what? They'll probably evaporate. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs have made it big and then all of a sudden they're bust. I can't tell you how many investors have made it big. Just look at crypto. They made a bunch, and they lost it almost all. You see, it's when you lose it all, it's when you're in that moment of failing that is the hardest to reinvest in yourself. But that is when it is most important to continue to keep reinvesting in yourself. Reinvest by getting mentors. Reinvest by getting coaches. Let me give you an example. Back not too long ago, 2013, I was failing. I was failing miserably. Every day I woke up feeling empty. I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I was a high-level financial advisor, but I hated what I did. I was hating it every day more and more and more. And then I was getting into real estate, but I was failing left and right. I didn't have the money. I was undercapitalized. Nothing seemed to be going right. And I went to an event that I really couldn't afford. I believe it was like $2,500, and I'm sitting there, me and my fiance, who's now my wife, we're sitting there and we're watching these speakers, and I remember seeing one go up on stage. His name was Scott. And he got talking, and I look at I look at Larissa, we'll just say that. She was my fiance then, she's my wife now. I look at her and I say, sweetie, we need to hire him as our coach. Now, we didn't even know if he was a coach. We didn't know if he would mentor us, but we sat down with him on that lunch break. And we said, listen, here's our problems. We need someone like you to help mentor us. Would you do that, and how much would it cost? Because the first thing I'm thinking is, I'm broke. How much is this guy going to cost? And I remember he gave a number. And in my mind, the first thing I thought is, there's no way I can afford that. But then the other side of my brain said, there's no way I cannot afford this. Do you understand? I couldn't afford it on one side, but there's no way I couldn't afford it on the other side. All I'm trying to say is I needed him. So therefore, it didn't matter where the money was going to come from. It didn't matter that I couldn't afford him. That was just my mind playing that negative side, saying, no, you can't do it. That limited mindset. But the abundant mindset, which is the other side, said, you can't afford not to have Scott. And we did. And he turned things around for us. He was that first stepping stone to get us back on the track. That was investing in ourselves. I continue to invest in coaches. Even today, I continue to invest in coaches. I have a coach who's the coach of coaches. That might make sense. It might not. But all I want you to understand is these 5 different lessons that you have to do. And actually, hey, why don't we do this? Let's go back and recap these 5. First one, create. You must create. And second, you must have a vision for what you're going to create. That vision has to be bigger. It should scare you. That's how big the vision is. And number 3, whatever you're creating, it has to solve a problem. The bigger the problem, the bigger the business opportunity. And number 4, this is the hardest one, you're going to fail. So you're going to have to accept the fact that failure is part of succeeding. And the 5th, even when you're failing, you must continue to reinvest in yourself, because you can't make it if you don't reinvest in yourself. And when you need to reinvest in yourself is when it feels like you can't. Never forget that story about Scott. I couldn't afford him. I didn't have the money to afford him, but I couldn't afford not to have Scott. Who in your life do you need? If you're watching YouTube videos or you're online, who do you see that you must have, even though they might cost $10,000 a month? They might be more than that. But if you think you need them, find a way. And when you do, you will find a way. Folks, these are the 5 things you must apply if you're an aspiring entrepreneur or you're already an entrepreneur to be successful. And folks, if you like this, make sure you subscribe to this channel. And right above, see that little bell up there? Smash that bell so that you get alerted every time I put up a new video. And I got one more for you. If you liked this video, check this one out. How to generate passive income with no initial funds. We'll see you next time.